You want more on the Avs? You got it.
Honestly, does it really matter right now?
That's the problem, right?
No, just about anybody can get in front of a microphone and talk about hockey. How on earth do you get involved in something like this?
It was kind of a fluke.
It's funny that this podcast is going off the rails so quickly.
This is From the Cheap Seats, an Avalanche fan podcast from 9 News. Seated in the conference room, here are your hosts, Steve Stager and Geoff Sawtell.
This isn't the conference room. We really need to change that one of these days.
Eventually.
I feel like that is our official open to the show every week, so no one actually knows if they're listening to the latest episode. They just think, I don't know, could be a different one.
Joke's on them. We've just been running the same 3 episodes over and over and over.
Yeah,
no one's caught it.
Real truth. No one's figured it out. Joining us in the cheap seat.
Very cheap seat.
For a lot of, are you comfortable?
Yeah, I'm good.
Mr. Andy Buck.
Hello.
CNN photojournalist, Avalanche fan, former 9 News employee.
Yes.
Should
All those things are true.
I wasn't sure if you wanted to admit that you were a former 9 News employee or not.
Oh, no, that's fine. It's safer to say that than I work for CNN.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
Sorry.
In this day and age.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Love to you for that.
Of course.
We
yeah.
all have been dealing with a lot of that lately, and it's not much fun.
Yes, indeed. Yes, it has.
Andy is joining us simply because he texted us, and Geoff and I still had to finish this podcast.
Yeah.
So we figured, what the heck? Let's have Andy come on in.
I can talk hockey, sure.
You're in town from New York.
Yes.
But you grew up here.
I did, yes. I grew up here. My whole life, my whole childhood was spent in Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've been an Avs fan since the Avs existed.
Since they were the Nordiques.
What are your memories of that first season?
It was great. It was very exciting. Back then, they played in McNichols Sports Arena, which was a very cool venue to see sports. And actually, I guess I don't know if it was cool because it's all we had. But
well, you had Mile High too.
Yeah, the original Mile High. Yeah,
But,
yeah, very classic. But no, it was fun. It was fun to have a team that won things besides the Broncos.
That was sort of a depressing period to be a Denver sports fan.
It was, yeah.
What, before there was hockey here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you had the Nuggets and you had the Rockies.
No, the
Rockies
were
95. That was their
95.
first season.
That was their first season too.
Oh,
yeah.
so you just had 2 teams here for
Two
a while.
teams, and the Broncos were good sometimes. They also lost a lot of Super Bowls, so that wasn't fun.
Just get our hopes
I
up.
can't imagine just being you and I have had many conversations about this because I grew up in Detroit and
Yes.
For a long time had a tough time with the Avalanche just because they were that rival.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like to have a team show up in your town and have them win a championship the first year that they're here.
It was very nice. I mean, I don't know.
Did people know what hockey was back then?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, we're a landlocked state, so we barely have frozen lakes to skate on, but...
We'd had a couple teams that with varying levels of popularity.
Well, we had the minor league team, the Grizzlies, for a long time.
Grizzlies were fun.
They were very fun to watch, yes.
Yeah. And you had the Rockies, although you probably weren't alive for that, were you?
I was alive for that.
Were you alive for
How
the
old do you
Rockies?
think I am? Oh, those Rockies, yes.
No, not
the Colorado Rockies.
not
yeah.
the baseball Rockies, but
yeah, that's what I figured. What year was that? That was
They left in 89 or 90.
yeah. No, it's
they were around for a while. I thought they were. I thought they were here only
yeah.
in the 70s, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, we might have to fact check that. 90s people.
Right now, there's someone screaming at their radio.
If only there was a way.
We're looking it up. Don't
If
worry.
only there was a device to look this up on.
Wow, Rocky is not spelled like that. Rocky, hockey.
Which one of us can type
Rocky,
it faster?
hockey. Who's got it?
I have
82. Okay, I was way off.
Oh, 82.
82.
I was saying because Quenneville played here,
Yes.
which is something I figured out.
82. I was but a fetus.
You were
so
a
I
thought.
don't know.
You were a thought
I
at
was-
that point.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been paying much attention to them lately
Um,
in New York?
I'll be honest, I have not. It's been
Get off the show.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of heartbreaking seasons.
What did we
Yeah.
have you in here for?
I don't know. I was just literally was on the street and you guys asked me to come in.
That's what happens when he visits.
Stick to what we wrote on the cards.
Should we? I feel like it would be a good segment maybe for somebody who's not really a hockey fan to try to explain to you why they're exciting to watch right now.
Tell
I mean,
me.
they are
Please do.
they are one of the best teams in the NHL right now.
Mm-hmm.
They also are one of the most injured teams in the NHL
I'd
right
say
now.
if you are pre-med, then they are fascinating for you to watch.
Were you thinking about a degree in medicine?
I am now.
Have you ever had a concussion before?
Actually, I have, yes.
Oh, hey, so lots
Yeah.
of them have been experiencing that lately.
No, that's not good.
Pierre-Edouard Bellemare got a concussion from a pretty gnarly hit from Columbus's Nick Foligno, which knocked him out, and he was out for a couple of games after that. Pavel Frankie, Frankie, the backup goaltender. So the main so let me paint the picture for you. We got this line of 3 players here: Nathan McKinnon, Gabriel Landeskog, and Mikko Rantanen. Gabriel Landeskog and Mikko Rantanen are both out with injuries right now. You add another third line center, Colin Wilson, who's also out. Then you go to Philip Grubauer, our starting goaltender, who is also out with an injury. Then you go with Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, who also had a concussion for a little while. Then they go on the road, and their backup goalie is in net and gets destroyed. Steamrolled by the Winnipeg Jets within the first 30 seconds of the game, knocked unconscious basically on the ice. He has a concussion. He's out of the game. So we're playing 2 Colorado Eagles right now on the road trip. By the way, we're taping this on a Friday night. I don't know if Philip Grubauer is going to be back before then or not. So one of the most injured teams in the league, arguably probably the most injured team, and yet they're still winning hockey games, except for a pretty miserable game against Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers.
No idea what you're talking about. That game didn't happen.
That was rough.
Yeah, that was bad.
But anyway, it was a very rough thing. So they are a team to watch whenever
That's
the
good.
Rangers play them, or the New York Islanders, where perhaps you may know the goaltender for the New York Islanders is one Semyon Varlamov,
Yes, I remember.
who used to play here.
That's true.
Yes.
He got into a little trouble.
He
but
did get into trouble while he was
Yes.
Yes.
here. And from the news side, you probably remember
I
that.
do remember that.
You probably
yes.
covered a court case or two.
I was
involved
definitely
in
not
that.
standing outside of his apartment many chilly nights.
Really?
Waiting for him to come home to get a shot.
For a live shot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, news has even changed in
It's
that
such
time.
a glamorous job, isn't it?
Right?
So glamorous.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
So the big news this week is just kind of wondering when this team will get back, but they're still winning. Cale Makar is playing. Cale Makar, this young rookie sensation, playing out of his mind right now. He joined the Avs during the playoffs last year, scored a goal in his first game during the playoffs, which was pretty cool. He's a rookie prospect. He is what I think he leads. He's a defenseman who leads all rookies in points in the league right now, which is pretty impressive.
Wow.
So a lot of good things on the good front. If you'd like to watch a hockey game while you're home, I don't know if your parents or your hotel room have Comcast, but they can't watch it because altitude is blacked out.
I've
on Comcast.
heard this, yes.
Let's see, what else do we need to catch you up on?
So how do you watch?
It's on DirecTV now,
Oh.
thanks to a diehard fan from Laramie, Wyoming. We like to say that she was on this podcast and then all of a sudden DirecTV made a deal.
Whoa.
She was pretty angry. She called and left me a voicemail, and then all of a sudden the whole thing's back up and running.
Wow.
So I think we blame it on Eunice. I probably could play you the voicemail if you'd like to hear it.
Well, it sounds very convincing. It sounds just as exciting as the Avalanche.
It is just as exciting as the
The avalanche of voicemails.
Here's
Steve,
Eunice.
this is Eunice Heiser in Laramie, Wyoming, and I'm a disgruntled Avs fan, and I tried to call the DirecTV number that was on the Nuggets broadcast, and I got the greatest runaround. I ended up being given a number for an auto dealership to call and talk to. I'd like to talk to you a bit about what more we can do to get our Avs back on the air.
Andy Buck, I tell you, I kid you not, I tweeted about this voicemail that I got and saying that she got transferred to a car dealership. And within a day, I had a voicemail from someone in the president's office at AT&T.
Wow.
Who wanted to get in touch with Eunice and ended up giving her, I think, like a $25 credit on her bill. And the next day, the deal was done.
Wow.
So I like to say that Eunice got this deal done.
Yeah, that's an American hero.
God bless Eunice.
Yeah.
We're hoping to meet her at a game coming up.
That's great.
So I feel like we've caught you up on all of the things that are going on.
I feel informed, yes.
You can be a fan once again.
Yes, I never stopped.
You never stopped.
No.
And you'll get excited if they're in like a cup final or something.
Of course, yeah.
It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll play the Rangers, although I don't think the Rangers are playing all that
In
well.
a few years.
Well, my wife's from Dallas, and she's a huge,
Stars fan.
And it's the only like rivalry in our house as far as sports goes. So I'll stick up for the Avalanche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Stars pretty handily destroyed us the last couple times they played us, but
I know.
it'll be fine. Yeah. You remember that?
My wife does.
Yeah. She certainly does.
Yeah.
So lots to talk about with the injuries. We were hoping to get a sports medicine doctor on the show. Couldn't find one beforehand.
They all seem to be very busy right now.
So busy. We were hoping to find a lower body injury doctor to talk to us about lower body injuries, because it basically seems like just about everybody has a lower body injury, except for Nikita Zadorov, who took a puck to the face and broke his jaw.
And his official listing on the injury report just says face.
Yes.
Which is spectacular.
Wow.
But he was pretty banged up, had surgery on the jaw, and was out practicing like 2 days later. That just tells you the testament.
Hockey players are just tough like
Testament
that.
of hockey players.
Yeah.
So in this game against Winnipeg, like we mentioned, Pavel Francouz was pulled out of the game, and Adam Werner came in, played a heck of a night. First NHL game, he gets a shutout, 40 saves. But at the same time, the Avs had to activate the emergency goaltender because their backup was – they didn't have a backup, right? Their backup is playing. So the emergency guy by the name of Byron Spriggs in Manitoba, who's a Jets fan, had to pop in the game and be ready in case Adam Werner got injured and have to go in the game and play because of this weird emergency backup program that the NHL has.
Forgive my ignorance. What's the turnaround time on that?
So he is sitting in his seat. He goes to the game. He's ready to play for either team, and he pops in maybe 10 minutes, gets dressed, and is ready to go.
So he has a jersey waiting for him with his name on
They've got it. I don't know if it has his name on it. It may just be a blank jersey. Because the Avs,
it's in the right size.
I think the Avs carry it around with them to be ready for somebody. But we talked to a guy, Justin Goldman, who was in this studio and talked about how he has to do that for the Avs and be ready to play for either team. Think about that. Like one night you might be taking shots from Nathan McKinnon or something like that. That'd be nuts, right?
Wow.
So Byron Spriggs from Manitoba, I found him on Twitter. We're going to talk to him next.
Cool.
Colorado is a sports state. The 9 News app puts all of our great stories in one place. From the pros to the preps, you'll find it all. Plus the latest Broncos update from insider Mike Quist. The 9 News app. Download it today.
If you were watching the Avalanche game the other night, you saw yet again another sign that the Avs need depth, because Pavel Francouz goes down, and then we're seeing Adam Werner warming up. And at the same time, one of our favorite things in all of professional sports, the emergency backup goalie program fires up, and Byron Spriggs from Manitoba is sitting on the bench for the Colorado Avalanche, and he's sitting on the line with us right now. Byron Spriggs, how are you, sir?
Great. How about yourselves?
Great. Good to have you on.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. So take me through the other night. What happens?
Well, the beginning of the night was pretty quick, actually. Usually we get there around warm-up, and then, I'm allowed to bring a guest with me, so I brought one of my buddies, and we grabbed a little bit of food and then sat down, watched warm-ups. Puck dropped about 30 seconds in. You're thinking you're just going to sit, and usually we just sit down and kind of watch a game for free, and that's kind of the way it goes. But, unfortunately, it's always a tricky spot for the emergency backup, because, it's always exciting if you get a call, but you never ever want to see a guy get hurt, especially the way Frank Cruz did. I mean, that was a pretty difficult hit. So he went down, and then the PR guy came and grabbed me, and 10 minutes later, I'm in the Colorado dressing room with my gear on.
So you store your gear kind of in the tunnel down there, huh?
Yeah. So basically, we park on the loading ramp. I just parked my car there, and I got my gear in the trunk. And usually, it stays completely untouched for the entire game. But I guess 2 nights ago now was definitely a little different than that. So yeah, I ran out there, grabbed it, and one of the Colorado PR guys kind of showed me to where I'd be getting changed, which was just outside the change room, actually, just in a little training room. And yeah, I threw my gear on, threw the Avs jersey on, which was pretty incredible, just putting that thing on my body. But yeah, it was great.
So it's a strange enough experience suiting up regardless. What is it like putting that jersey on for the other team? I mean, you're 30 seconds before you're rooting for your guys. All of a sudden you're putting on the other team's jersey.
Exactly. And you know what? It's funny. People ask me that. They go, well, you're probably a Jets fan, right? Like, what happens when you put on the other team's jersey? And I go, well, let me tell you, if I ever had to go in there, you can guarantee I'd be making sure I'd be shutting down, trying to shut down those other guys as best as I can. And, trying is the key word there. I don't know if I would per se, but I would definitely try my best because, just that competitive instinct in you, no matter what team you are, if you ever get into an NHL game, you can guarantee you're going to battle your butt off to make sure everything goes well.
So you're in the Colorado dressing room, right? And you get changed, you throw the jersey on. What happens from there?
Well, so for me, I didn't quite get changed in the actual dressing room. I was in a little training room kind of off the side, but I did have a lot of players kind of walk by, and they would do the kind of double take where they'd walk by and expect to see, the regular guys in there. Then they just see this other goalie that they've never seen before in the jersey. So they kind of stop and look back, and a few of them came in and introduced themselves to me and kind of made me feel like I was a part of the team. And, all the training staff were excellent as well. They really kind of went above and beyond to, get me decked out with the Colorado hat and everything. It was like I said, it was really great, and they made me feel really at home, especially for how kind of intimidating of an experience it is. They did a great job, kind of make me feel very welcome, and yeah.
So do you get to talking to anybody on the bench when you're sitting there?
So I was sitting, I wasn't sitting on the bench. I was sitting kind of in the tunnel area. I guess the benches at the MTS Center, I think, are a little too small maybe.
Oh, sure.
So I was sitting on the side, but guys like Eric Johnson came in and shook my hand and introduced himself to me. Philip Grubauer was there, and he came and actually he sat down beside me in between intermissions both times and kind of just asked me questions, and we were kind of just, shooting stuff back and forth, and he asked me about my equipment, where I played, and everything. So he was really, really friendly, and like I said, very comforting to have another goalie around, because I think we're definitely, one of a kind sort of breed. So it was great having him there, and I was asking him questions, he was asking me questions. It was great, and like I said, really, really friendly guys, and it was really awesome.
That's really cool. And you guys can relate on that, just because I know all goalies kind of have that in common, where you can kind of commiserate and just talk about what you do, which is one of the oddest jobs in sports.
Oh, for sure. And like I said, there's, it's always, goalies always have the best time chatting, about goalie problems or something like that, right? It's just a very relatable topic. So yeah, we were just talking back and forth just about, equipment changes and, because mine's not NHL specs. We were just discussing the differences between my equipment and what his equipment would look like and all that. And it's pretty amazing, how the size of equipment they use, even compared to what I'm using. I mean, I try and keep it, relatively regular size. I'm not someone that's going to wear, chest protector 2 sizes too big, but even his, Grubauer is a little taller than me, and he was like, oh yeah, mine's way smaller than this. And, we were just kind of, like I said, he actually had my chest protector in his hand at one point, was kind of pointing out parts of it to me where, yeah, they took this off and, yeah, this is kind of adjusted. So that was, like I said, really cool kind of nerdy things, I guess, goalies talk about, but it was, like I said, pretty surreal just to have him in there. Me and him kind of just having an honest conversation like that was just awesome.
What's this experience like for you? Have you ever done this before, number one? And then what is it all like? Is it just so much to take in?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. So I have done it once before. I did it with Dallas. I think it was a year or two. I honestly can't remember, but yeah, that one was a little different. I kind of stayed in that little training room the whole time. Colorado actually gave me the opportunity to go sit, kind of be a part of the game where I could actually watch and be ice level, which was even better, so that kind of made me feel like a little bit more of a part of it. And then, yeah, having one guy like Grubauer come in and really talk to me like that and make me feel like I was really part of it, and all the training staff were great too. And so, yeah, taking it all in is a big step, right? You really don't understand maybe in the heat of the moment what actually is going on. And, you really are technically one bad incident away from being in an NHL game, right? Like an average Joe like myself. I mean, I've played some good hockey, but it's definitely not the NHL. So you don't really think about it in the moment. You're just there, and you're kind of just trying to take it all in as you can. But you really, after you go home and sit down in bed, you kind of go, wow, I was pretty close to actually having to take a shot from, Patrick Lanning on the power play or something like that. But definitely something that I don't even think I've still kind of come to terms with how awesome it was. And, I'm still kind of remembering little things that happened throughout the course of the night, but definitely something I won't forget anytime soon.
So when you finish up the game, get the gear off, how many missed calls did you have waiting for you?
Oh my God. I was like, in between periods, I was looking at it, and it was like the list just somehow kept getting longer. I was like, okay, maybe by the third period it'll slow down. And there was almost more. And I was like, oh my God, I had like 65 missed texts. I had so many missed calls, so many shout-outs on like Instagram and stuff. I'm like, how am I in 20 people's Instagram stories? Like, what's going on? But I guess I had half of my followers were at the game apparently. So I had a bunch of pictures of me kind of sitting behind the glass, with a terrified look on my face. But no, it was great. And I think I'm still kind of getting to the point where I'm still trying to answer everyone and get back to everyone and, just say thank you for reaching out to me and congratulating me on it. Cause yeah, like I said, great for people to take the time of their day to do that.
You had mentioned the mindset, and it's kind of surreal. In that actual moment, can you talk about like the nerves or kind of like what kicks in your mind, even when you're just at the rink before the game?
Yeah, before the game, I've done it a lot now. So before the game, when you're not, like I said, I do it a lot. So you don't really think about it a lot because you feel like the first time it happened to me with Dallas, after it happened, I was like, never going to happen again, right? Like that was my moment, never going to happen again. And then, sure enough, it kind of happens, and you got to kind of 180 your mindset because, like I said, most of the time I'm just sitting there watching the game, right? Like I've been to probably, I've probably done 50 of those games before, right? And so, 48 other ones, I'm just sitting there having a good time with whoever I bring, and we're just watching a good Jet game. So right there, as soon as that happens, your heart kind of stops. You kind of feel it, kind of that feeling of where your stomach kind of comes up to your throat, and you're like, ooh. Yeah. So that's kind of the first feeling you get, and then it's always I always tell people it's like a combination of emotions. It's like you're feeling so many different things that are so opposite. Like you're excited, but you're terrified. You want to feel great about the opportunity, but you feel bad because someone had to get hurt in the process. And at the end of the day, this is those guys' jobs, right? And you never want to see someone kind of get hurt, in their profession and that kind of thing. So that's always tough at the same time because you're technically just filling a void from injury, which is tough. But at the same time, you're excited because, hey, maybe this could be your chance. But then you're also like, I really don't want to do this because I could also embarrass myself in front of millions on national television. Like you can be the hero like Scott Foster, or you could go in and just let in 5 goals on 5 shots and be an absolute dud, and right. So like I said, it's a complete mixture of emotions that should be opposite, but you don't know what to feel and you don't know how to react. And like I said, that's why it takes, I think, so long to kind of process everything. But yeah, you got to take away from the fact that it's just an amazing experience in general, and all those emotions you feel, honestly, if anything, just make it more memorable.
You're saying there's absolutely no pressure at all, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, there's zero. I mean, until you step on the ice, I guess, right?
Yeah, right.
But the fact you're one step away from that is what makes it so pressureful, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got to ask you, so you're watching this game, and it was a feat of goaltending. I mean, you've got a guy who is a backup first year in the league, really, who gets knocked basically out cold. That was hard to watch, number one. But then number two, you got a guy who is playing in his first ever NHL game and basically stands on his head. What's it like from where you were sitting, and with your perspective, what's it like to watch something like that?
It was honestly, it was really inspiring. Like I said, I'm a big goalie. You know that I'm a goalie coach, and I actually do a lot of goalie coaching now that I'm not technically playing, competitively anymore. So I picked up a lot more coaching, especially at, the higher levels now that I have a little bit more free time to do that. But just being there and being ice level and watching that performance by Werner firsthand was unbelievable. Like the amount of calmness and patience in his game, and how easy he made it look under the circumstances, because coming in cold is never an easy thing, right? Especially if it's your first NHL start. That's just doubling the pressure right there. And I mean, hey, the Jets are a really good hockey team with some good players that have some great shots. And I'll remember this for a long time, but it was on the power play, and it was at the end I was sitting at, so I kind of watched this happen right in front of me. But the Jets run a power play, and they were moving the puck around really, really well, and went from the top, I think, to Laine for, his patented one-timer, and he got a clean, hard shot off that was probably going top glove, and Warner just snatched it out of the air like it was nothing. And I remember being like, holy crap, who is this guy? Like, he looked like a 10-year NHL veteran, to be honest. And, his performance is something that I hope he remembers for a long time, because it was inspiring to all goalies around, no matter what the level. It was great.
Yeah, well, yours is pretty inspiring, too. The fact that you're there and ready to go, and not running out of the building when they call and say, like, hey, you've got to get out there.
Yeah, exactly. Where did Byron Spriggs go? Oh, he's running out the back end. That's kind of what it felt like, I think, at times. I think my body was kind of saying run, but, the other part of it, the hockey side, he was kind of going, no, stay. So that's what, like I said, coming back to that whole, you're feeling like the opposites of emotions. You're getting torn in two directions. Maybe the more ego part of you is like, no, stay, you'll do good. And then, like, the humble part is like, no, you can't do this, run. But, yeah.
Oh. Well, hey, what number? I got two more questions for you. Number one, what's the perception of the Avs up north?
Oh, you know what? For people that know hockey really well, like before the Jets, I had a lot of friends that was their favorite team, right? Like, they're a team where even at the Jets game, there was a ton of Avalanche fans that you can tell were diehards and had been fans for a long time. So you can tell they're a very well respected organization, and are very well liked, right? Because I don't know why, but it's just been, I think there's just a lot of fans from Winnipeg that love the Avalanche and respect all the history and all the amazing players that have played for them. So like I said, when they were scoring, there was quite a few people standing up the NTS Center cheering, and like I said, I even had a few people come down ringside and kind of give me a pound and be like, you're on the right team now, kind of thing. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think the perception's very positive up here for sure.
How about your favorite goalies of all time? I know that's a tough one.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So growing up, I was always, I was a Manitoba Moose fan before the Jets came back. So I was always a big fan of Corey Schneider. I know he's kind of getting a little bit older and not quite as sharp as I guess he used to be, but he was always one of my favorites. I was kind of a goalie that wasn't that great. It took me a little bit longer to develop before I started playing junior hockey and then moved on to play for the Bisons after. So I was a bit of a late bloomer, and I remember always watching Schneider in the American Leagues being like, man, this guy is a really, really good goalie. Like, I hope he gets an opportunity to shine in the NHL, and then sure enough he did with the Canucks, and he ended up putting some really good numbers up with them, and even with the Devils for his first few years. I know he's had some injury issues now, but he's definitely kind of one of my favorite goalies, just in terms of, how hard he worked and his work ethic and how he's able to kind of rise up through the ranks, kind of similar to the way I kind of at least perceive I did. I was, like I said, not as great when I was younger, but always was a hard worker and kind of ended up getting the breaks later on and kind of got the coordination as I grew, I guess. Figured out my lankiness and started making more saves, but yeah, he's definitely one of my favorites.
Good to hear. Well, I got to tell you, you were talking about all the people down here who are Avs fans. I have been a Jets pseudo fan for a long time. So happy that hockey corrected itself by moving the Atlanta Thrashers out of Atlanta and moving them back to Winnipeg, where those people deserve hockey up there. And I was rooting for you guys.
I think you got 800,000 people that agree with you.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it just didn't really make much sense back in the day when the league did that, and I'm really glad to see it's one of those things where hockey really corrected itself. So, Byron Spriggs,
absolutely.
Thank you so much for the time, man. We really appreciate it. Hope you get to keep that jersey, right?
Yeah, so they needed to keep it for the rest of the road trip because I think they had to call someone up, but I gave JC, the trainer, who is, like I said, just awesome. I gave him my business card, so he said he's going to send me a jersey, which is, like I said, more than just being a part of the experience itself was more than enough. And they actually gave me Frank KUSA and Grubauer gave me a signed goalie stick, actually, which is I'm staring at it in my room right now as we speak, and I don't think it's going to leave anytime soon. So that was a couple great mementos from the night, and those will be hanging on my wall for a long time.
A night to remember. Cool. Byron Spriggs, thank you so much. Maybe we'll talk to you soon.
No problem. Yes, thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Sounds good, sir. Have a great night.
You too. Take care.
Bye. What a guy. What a story.
That is just like every goalie's dream right there.
I know. Can you imagine? You're sitting there, you're just soaking in the game. And we talked about this when we had Justin in here a few weeks ago. And little did I know it would come true soon enough.
And he talked about how you sort of calm down as the game goes on because it's less likely and also less likely that you'd even finish dressing before the end of the game. You barely have a chance to sit down and you're already in.
And then he gets to watch a phenomenal goaltending night for Adam Werner. Maybe not for Hellebuck, but
the good guys.
We'll take it. All right, we're gonna get to your feedback, including a lot of feedback on the new Avalanche jersey, or at least the rumored one, when we come back.
When deception and dishonesty become the norm, integrity means doing the right thing, even if it's the hard thing. If you've been wronged or see wrongdoing, email us at blowthewhistle@9news.com.
Boy, Andy Buck, you were awfully quiet during that interview.
I was speechless. I had nothing more to add.
We taped it earlier. So
giving away trade secrets, Steve.
Sorry. So we figured we ought to talk about the most talked about thing in Avs country this week, which is this leaked image of a jersey that might be the outdoor game jersey. So the Avs are playing the LA Kings at Falcon Stadium in Colorado Springs this year for the Stadium Series game. I just exited out of whatever you were giving me there, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Ask for the numbers.
So I wanted to get the numbers on. So we took a poll. Have you show Andy a picture of the jersey?
Oh, yes.
Show Andy.
The poll is
take a look at the poll.
Such numbers.
Show Andy the poll.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
You know when a team makes the playoffs and all the local grocery stores start carrying
like knockoff
jerseys?
Like this would be on sale at King Supers.
Yeah, you can get like a Butterball turkey and this crappy Avalanche T-shirt.
So we put up a poll on the Cheap Seats Twitter. Asked, what are your thoughts on the rumored Go Avs Go Stadium Series sweater? 40% of people said they hated it. 26% of people said they love it. 26%. Although we didn't really give people like an in-between. Well, I guess we gave them a not sure yet option, and 34% say they aren't sure yet. But you are 100% right. It looks like the thing that at King Supers that in 2 weeks is going to be on sale for 50% off.
Yeah.
Like the Broncos stuff that's always there. Let me see if I can find any comments.
I don't know. I mean, I want to give them credit for doing something different, at least. I mean, when I watch these outdoor games, it seems every year it's a variation of logo in the middle with just a team color stripe behind it.
Yeah.
And that's sort of all they do.
Yeah.
So, at least it's different, I guess.
There are people out there, rightfully so, begging for a Quebec Nordiques jersey. Because how cool would that be? Like maybe put like a Nordiques logo with maybe like a Colorado flag somewhere on it, or
That'd be cool.
or like make the flag part of like the inside of the logo with the. I don't even know what that is. What is that?
The fleur-de-lis.
Is that a fleur-de-lis? What's the actual logo?
I think it's just an N, isn't it?
Is it?
I think there's an N in it.
Hold on, I found a Google here. The Google machine says the Quebec Nordiques logo explained. Let's see what it is.
We're really coming across as well-informed fans.
Yes. You can tell we've done our research for this. The final logo featured a red with white and blue outline in the shape of a letter N and a red hockey stick.
Boom.
So that's a letter N? I never would have guessed that.
It kind of looked like an elephant.
That's what I thought it was. They kind of looked like an elephant.
So I was in Quebec City last year, and there is still very much Nordiques merchandise everywhere. Like, it's still like they're still very proud of that team, and you can seriously buy their stuff everywhere. Like nice stuff, not like the grocery store rip-off stuff that we've seen in these new sweaters. But
Did you buy any?
I sure did.
Did you?
Yep.
What'd you buy?
Just a T-shirt.
Yeah, that's cool.
But from Quebec, it's a very nice shirt.
So the ratings are in on the jersey. Donna B says, very meh. M-E-H, very meh. Kenny Loggins number 3 says, or Kenny Loggins the third. Kenny Loggins actually weighed in on this. He said, would it be weird for them to wear an old Nordiques jersey? I would say they should wear an old Rockies jersey, but I guess the Devils own that because they are the New Jersey Devils. Yeah. Jason Ramsey says he's okay with it. Travis Jackson says it's absolutely hideous, but I'm going to get into it, or I'm getting into it. Might have to get one with number 8 on the back for Kale McCarr. Might as well. Bob Liebner says it's just a logo. Just keep winning. Oh, by the way, I won't be running out to buy one of those sweaters. Thumbs down. So that was like kind of a little ride there because it was like, it's just a logo, guys. Stop freaking out. But I'm not going to buy it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. And just a chicken wing on Twitter says, I have no opinion. So
that's what Twitter's there for.
Yes.
Our producer, Daisha, passing along an amazing piece of feedback. I'm not sure where this came in. Apple Podcast review. I've got it right here. This is from C in Golden. Feedback on the show says, not just the young, ! C says, at 82, I volunteer at the library on Tuesdays, and now I have the fancy hearing aids that sync with the podcast so I can work, package up books for the mail, listen, smile, and enjoy. It's a fun podcast. Others, like The Economist and Wall Street Journal, can leave me tense. Keep up the good work. Okay, or the old work is what she says. But I'm assuming good work. But who knows? Maybe she meant old work. C, we want to talk to you. Email me, steve@9news.com. Email the show, cheapseats@9news.com. We want to have you in and come in as a guest because you sound amazing. How cool is that?
That's
awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
I love that kind of feedback. At 82, and now I love she says the fancy, or she or he, I actually don't know. Says the fancy hearing aids that sync with the podcast so I can work. I like that. I need to get the fancy hearing aids.
Sound great.
They do sound great.
Yeah.
So if anybody knows who C is, we want to have C in on the show. And we're not just bribing people for ratings, for people to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast.
You can't see Steve winking. But.
We'd appreciate it if you rated, reviewed, and subscribed to From the Cheap Seats. And as always, by the way, you can get at us at 9cheapseats on Twitter.
That is true.
Any final thoughts, Geoff? Any final thoughts, Andy?
Yeah, the jerseys are just kind of whelming. They're not under, they're not over, they're just whelmed. I'm just whelmed by them.
I'm trying to figure out, is there anything they could do to improve them?
I almost feel like the bottom of it's just empty space.
Maybe it'll look better with a bunch of hockey pads under it. I don't know.
Possible. I mean, it'll automatically look better if we can win by 5 goals. I mean, that makes anything they're wearing look better.
I suppose.
It's true. The answer to if there's anything they can do to make it better is actually there's absolutely no way.
Was that from episode 3 or the recut of Return of the Jedi?
That's what Greedo says now in the.
Yeah, they changed that again.
This is that we were actually tuning in to the Comcast and altitude negotiations. They were going pretty well for a little while, and then one side, I think it was Comcast, just stepped in and said,
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
And next thing you know, they're just not getting it done.
Worse all the time.
I know. All right, so look ahead at the schedule for the Avs.
Please, God.
Jeff's like, get us out of here. And by the way, same thing we say every week. If you have someone you think we should talk to, email cheapseats@9news.com or get at either of us on Twitter.
Or apparently text us as you wander by the station. That also seems to work.
Text it, yeah.
It'll get you on.
If it's a late Friday night,
Yeah.
just come and like say you want a beer and you want to meet up for a beer. We'll pull you in for the podcast. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So when we release this episode on Tuesday, the Avalanche are in Calgary to take on the Flames. Then on Thursday, they're in Minnesota to take on the Wild. To end that road trip, the Avs return to Pepsi Center on Saturday the 23rd to take on the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Tyson Barrie, at least, I think Alexander Kerfoot is out indefinitely right now because of he had a surgery for a dental fracture.
Ooh, that sounds
which just
unpleasant.
sounds miserable.
Oh.
But I'm really interested. I'm not going to get to go to that game on Saturday, but I'm so interested to see what the reception is to Tyson Barrie, who was traded earlier this year. Then the Avs have a few nights off. They don't play again until Wednesday the 27th when they're at home against the Edmonton Oilers, and we hope it goes a whole hell of a lot better than it did last time. So that is that. Andy, do you feel like you've learned a lot?
I have learned so much about...
Do you feel like you'll retain much
Actually,
of that?
yeah. No, you guys are obviously very knowledgeable. You know your stuff, and no knockoff merchandise when you see it.
Can I interest you in a foldable suitcase?
A foldable suitcase?
We got
Let's tell you about the foldable suitcase.
Our best piece of feedback on the show so far was someone emailed us trying to get us to endorse a foldable suitcase. Yeah. You're having the same thought. They offered us $200 American if we could air a commercial that's 5 to 10 minutes long.
Wow.
At some point during the podcast. So I figure if I just keep mentioning the foldable suitcase at some point,
once we hit 5 cumulative minutes, we're gonna get a check in the mail.
I'm just gonna cut a giant master cut of every time I mention the foldable suitcase.
I'm intrigued how one folds a suitcase.
I'm intrigued how one folds a suitcase as well. Apparently, it's very convenient.
Okay.
So just remember.
Well, I travel a lot, so.
Do you?
I do.
Is that for work?
It is for work and for fun.
Do you happen to have a lot of things that need folding?
I don't. I mean.
Do you ever find that when you're trying to put something in the carry-on container, it just doesn't work?
It's true. I mean. Yeah.
Carry-on container. I sound like I fly an awful lot, don't I?
You do, yes.
Well, a foldable suitcase might be for you. Just remember, you can buy it at the foldable suitcase store. You just go in and you tell them Steve Steger sent you.
And bring $200 American.
Oh, do you think it costs that?
Isn't that what he said?
No, it's what we would get.
Oh, that's what you
endorse
get. Oh, I'm sorry.
So $200 American. Maybe it costs that. I don't know. I haven't done the research, but
wow, this is some suitcase.
This really went off the rails quickly. We'll see you guys next week.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Steve Steger and Geoff Sautel, who have absolutely no business covering sports at all. They're just fans. You can tell them how wrong they are by tweeting at the show at 9cheapseats or email cheapseats@9news.com.